Alright, in this video we're going to go over some wall modification tools, such as editing the profile of the wall, as well as adding wall openings. So let's begin. I'm over here in Revit, got this wall that's sitting here, and if I go into the properties panel, I can see that it doesn't have a top constraint and is an unconnected height of 20 feet. I'm going to hop into the 3D view of this wall to get a better look at it. Okay, so let's say hypothetically I wanted to put a circular cutout in this wall. I can select the wall, and in the contextual tab, modify walls, in the mode panel, I'm going to select edit profile. Editing the profile is going to change the profile of the wall, or the perimeter of the wall, to this pink line. Here, I can then use the draw elements within this turquoise contextual tab, and similar to what we did in a previous video where we're actually drawing walls, instead of drawing an actual wall, we're going to just draw lines, which are going to be cutouts in this profile. This wall. So I'm going to put a 2'6" circle there, and I'm going to put a rectangular box there. Now, similar to how we can adjust temporary dimensions and permanent dimensions within walls, this also works for lines. So you can see I select this edge, I get temporary dimensions relative to the profile, or the perimeter, I should say, of the wall, and I can adjust them here, as well as just the overall size and shape. Okay. If I'm happy with my changes to the profile, I can click this green checkbox. And you'll notice now that the wall has cut out. If I hover over the element that was cut out, you notice I sometimes get these controls which allow me to adjust its width in this case. Okay, let's say if you wanted to adjust the outer perimeter, how would you do that? So I'm going to go back into the edit profile command, and I'm going to modify this pink border. So I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just take a triangular chunk out of the center of this wall, or the lower center of this wall. So I'm going to use the line command. I'm going to start on the lower end of this wall, go to some point in space, and then go back to the bottom of the wall. Now, if I click the green checkbox, I'm going to get an error. And the reason for that is when I edit a profile, I can't have lines intersecting each other. So I have to trim out this line at the bottom of the triangle in my profile. So I'm going to click continue. And now I'm going to use the trim command. These work just like how we were trimming walls. So I use the trim command, I select my cutting plane, and then I select the part of the line that I wish to keep. And now I get another error, which is telling me, hey, you just cut this bottom edge to this point on your triangle. However, now there's nothing bounding the profile of the wall on the right-hand side. And it's saying, hey, did you really want to do that? And I'm going to say, yes, I did. I want to have one element on the left, and then I'll just manually draw on the one on the right. So I'm going to click Unjoin Elements. Now, I don't have a closed profile, which when you don't have a closed profile, you're not allowed to finish editing. It's going to tell you, hey, lines must be a closed loop. So I'm going to click Continue, and I'm going to draw a line from the edge of my triangle to the edge of this wall. Now, when I click the green checkbox, I now have the cutout as I wanted. Okay. So let's say you want to reset a wall that you edited its profile. All you have to do is select the wall and then click the Reset Profile option here in the ribbon tab. Doing that will reset the wall profile. Let's talk about a way to make a rectangular cutout of the wall without using Edit Profile. So I'm going to go back into my plan view, and I'm going to go to Walls, and then I'm going to draw a wall out in space somewhere. Okay. So now I'm going to hop back over to 3D, and I can see my wall right over here. And now what I want to do is I want to cut a wall opening in it. So I could edit the profile and draw a rectangle in it, but there's another method using this wall opening command. I select it, and now it wants me to draw a rectangle on the wall that I wish to create an opening in. I'm going to click 2 random points, and you can see that the rectangle cutout is now there. To select it, I can hover over the wall and use the Tab key to cycle through the host wall and the opening. When I select the opening, you'll notice temporary dimensions to adjust its location in 3D space, as well as these controls manually adjust. There's also some properties to adjust the numerical values of these as well. Let's take a look. You can see right here that this wall opening has a base offset of 6 foot. And that's relative to the base constraint of the wall, which is level 1. And this is done because I created this wall on the level 1 plan view. So if I change the base offset to 2 feet, you'll notice that the wall opening gets closer to the bottom edge of our wall. However, the top stayed at the same location, and that is because of the top offset. So what I have right now is I have a top offset of 17 feet selected. You'll notice that there's no constraint for this wall, and this is because this wall was created with an unconnected height of 20 feet. If I want to adjust the top offset, I simply change this number here, and you'll notice that the wall opening now gets shorter. So between the properties panel and the temporary dimensions, you can place this opening exactly where you want. Of course, if I wanted to do a wall opening that went all the way to the bottom, I could either grab this control and drag down to the bottom, or adjust the offset for the base to be 0. Because this wall was placed on level 1, changing the level 1 elevation, so I'll hop over to north, for instance. If I grab this level 1 elevation, and I change the elevation to -5 feet, the wall will move down with it. And that's how to handle editing profiles as well as wall openings.